Hello and welcome back. My name is Jack Bourne. I'm here with Salome Schillack, and this is the Evergreen Summit. And what we're going to be talking about in this advanced session, I know is going to be really, really impactful because at some point you're probably going to want to hire your own ads manager. But one of the big questions that you might be asking is, when is the right time for me to do this? I don't want to do it too soon, and I don't want to wait too long. And then when it comes time to actually do it, how do I know even what I'm looking for? What makes for a good ads manager? Because I'm sure when you're interviewing them, they all sound pretty awesome. So
Yeah,
Salome, why don't we dive in and try to tackle this so that we can unravel this mystery for everyone watching?
I love it. Thank you so much, Jack. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah.
Okay, good question. When is the right time? So I always the right time is once you know enough about Facebook ads to understand whether your ads manager is doing a good or a bad job. So I say to all of my students, you need to understand, you as the business owner needs to have run your own campaigns at least for a couple of launches, at least for some list building. Like you need to understand how Facebook works, and you need to have an understanding of the ads manager, and you need to have an understanding of what to look for in terms of good results. So the time is not right when you have been avoiding the ads manager. That's the first thing. So a lot of people, where I see a lot of people lose money when they hire Facebook ads managers is they may have the money to hire someone. Because let's face it, the biggest thing, the biggest reason why a lot of new online course creators are not hiring an ads manager is because when they're just starting out, often they can't afford it, right? So then they're forced to learn it themselves, which is how I learned it. But some online course creators already have a coaching or a consulting business that maybe is making multi six figures, even seven figures, and so they have the financial resources to hire an ads manager. But when there's a lack of understanding of what ads can and can't do, that makes for a very difficult relationship between an ads manager and a client, because you have to understand that very intimate relationship between traffic and conversions. An ads manager can never, ever, ever increase conversions. So an ads manager that promises you they're going to make you money is lying to you. I never promise a client we will make them money. What I can do is I can help them better track the numbers in their funnel so that they can see the relationship between traffic and conversion and then make better choices to make money. But Facebook ads is just traffic. It's just bringing more people to your funnel. So you're not ready to hire an ads manager if you don't understand the relationship between traffic and funnels, and you're not ready if you don't understand Facebook ads well enough to know if your ads manager is doing a good job.
So let me dive in a little bit on that. So in the previous training that we just did, we were talking about how one lead magnet could be having twice the conversions of another, but maybe the one with fewer conversions actually is bringing all the buyers. So let me just bring this up. Couldn't an ads manager also add value by saying, okay, based on what I'm seeing in the past month or two of activity, we need to stop advertising to this audience over here, because even though they're responsive, it's not actually bringing us sales. Whereas this audience over here might be smaller or might be less responsive. They might take longer to decide, but this is actually where the money is. Is that something that a good ads manager can do?
Probably not. I'm going to tell you, probably not. That's what we do.
Okay.
That's what we do, because all we do is work with online course creators, and I got to a point where it was so painful for me to see the best ads ever, and then have the client's webinar fall completely flat and not be able to explain to them what happened. So that's why we came up with this, that's why we track the whole funnel's data for the client. Most clients don't track, I would say most clients do not have advanced enough tracking in place when they come to us. So an ads manager, let me say, most ads managers learn Facebook ads. They might have a basic understanding of funnels, and they might have a basic understanding of, okay, we're doing a live launch or we're doing an evergreen launch. But most Facebook ads managers, and this is, I say to my team often, I say, I think the market has been rigged against us a little bit. It sets ads managers and clients up for conflict, which is why we work differently with clients, which is why we help clients track their whole funnels conversion points and their whole funnels data. Because if I am the ads manager and I am solely responsible for bringing traffic to your funnel, and your funnel doesn't convert, and you don't know how to understand what happened, the ads manager ends up blaming the client, and the client ends up blaming the ads manager. And I see that in every conversation I have with someone who's unhappy about their previous ads managers. They come to me and they blame the ads manager. And when I look at the ads, I go, no, the ads actually did great. Did you track the conversion rate of your webinar? Did you track the open rates of your emails? And the answer is no. And I go, well, maybe that's, so there's this kind of, I use the analogy. It might be a bad analogy, but I use the analogy. It's like when you hire a Facebook ads manager who only does Facebook ads, you're going on a one-night stand. This person can only give you what you want for a one-night stand. When you want true love, you want a partnership between you and your ads manager where you are both invested in all of the numbers, starting from the day people come in as a lead through a Facebook ad, all the way through to when they buy. Most ads managers are not going to follow that data journey for you. So I want to say, if you're a client, you will be absolutely empowering yourself by learning to track that data yourself, learning to know exactly how your funnels behave before you hire a Facebook ads manager. And then, if you're the person taking ownership of these conversion points in your funnel, and you know exactly what's happening in your funnel, then it's easy to hire, someone who's just going to bring some traffic for you. Then you can hire the freelancer who's just going to run some ads for you, because you still understand that that person's just bringing more people to your funnel. So it's a very intimate relationship that exists between a good Facebook ads manager and a good client. And it's a relationship where I feel both parties need to have the same dashboard where they're tracking the overall results of a funnel. And that's when you can start looking at like lead cost and say, well, hang on, this lead magnet might be cheaper, but we don't want that one. And starting to see, oh, hang on, this launch didn't go as well. What happened? And you can work with your ads manager to unpack that.
Are there any, maybe we can't simplify it down this much, but are there any things that we should be looking for specifically as course creators and maybe coaches and consultants when we're interviewing Facebook managers? Like, for example, just kind of going off of the prior training, it sounds like if someone could be an absolute world-class expert at Facebook ads for e-com, but that doesn't necessarily translate over. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. So the things that you should be looking for is, first of all, any ads manager that promises you they're going to make you money. That is a giant red flag, because the only way an ads manager can make you money is by choosing clients well. That's my strategy. I choose my clients really well because I know my clients already make money. So then I can just make them more money. But anyone, if you're desperate and you're looking for an ads manager who's promising you they're going to make you money, be very careful. because the ads manager just brings traffic to the thing that you created that either makes or does not make money. The second thing is avoid agencies who take e-commerce clients as well, because an e-commerce understanding of Facebook ads is very, very different than online course, or than how we build online course funnels and how we build online course ads and how we approach the strategies. And e-commerce clients spend bazillions of dollars. So if you work with a large agency, I know a lot of people who've hired large agencies that mostly have e-commerce clients, and they are always the stepchild. They are always the last one in line to get customer service. They're the last one in line to get the phone call returned or the email returned, because they're the client who spends the least amount of money. Because as online course creators, we don't spend as much as, there's e-commerce businesses that spend ridiculous amounts of money in these big agencies. And then next, if you're going with a freelancer, ask that freelancer to show you examples of not just creative, but you want to see creative too. But a lot of time people just ask for examples of images or copy or the videos that actually ends up on the platform. So you definitely want to look at that if the ads manager, if creating that is part of their business, and you want to see that they're able to translate your branding into ads. So that's the one thing. But then you also want to look at examples of clients that they've worked with successfully who do what you do. So if you have an evergreen webinar, you want them to show you an example of an evergreen webinar that they've worked on. Or if you have a live challenge, ask them to show you examples of work that they've done for live challenges. And then always ask to be put in touch with some of their past clients. That's one of the best ways to ensure you get someone who cares about your business, who is responsive, who values you as a client, and who's in it for the long haul.
Right. Any final thoughts, like, for example, pricing wise? I mean, I'm not saying this, like, I know it could really run the gamut, but for example, are there certain types of common ways that ad agencies will bill? Like, is it like, what I've heard is it's either a minimum of X per month or this percentage of ad spend, whichever is higher. Is that pretty common? Do you have any thoughts or feelings about that type of pricing model?
Yeah, that's pretty common. That is pretty common. So I think the one that you didn't mention is often a percentage of profit. That's something I tell people to avoid, just again, because the Facebook Ads Manager has zero control of how much money you make. So that's a bad model for ads managers. But it's also a bad model for you, because it means you feel that the ads manager is responsible for the profit, which they're not. The second model is a flat rate model. Flat rate model is what I recommend. So if you have somebody, if you're hiring an ads manager, double check that they have a flat rate. Flat rate is the best. Maybe go over them, how many different funnels that include, how many different projects that include, because sometimes you might be working with someone and paying them a flat rate, and it's easier to pay them a flat rate and then tell them we're going to have this project and that project and that project and that project, which allows for the Facebook Ads Manager to then make sure they have resources in place to support all of those things. And then some ads managers only work on a percentage of ad spend. In my agency, we start adding a percentage of ad spend when it goes over a certain amount of monthly spend. The reason we do that is because at a certain point, these funnels just get so big, and literally what we're managing in the ads manager gets so big because they're working with such big budgets that it literally requires more hours and more people to stay on top of it. So that's where we add it in. But I would be a little bit careful of someone who has a flat rate and a percentage from day one. Very few online course creators spend, I want to say very few, because most people who are looking for just an average ads manager are not spending $20,000 a month or more on a consistent basis. So, if you're spending 20,000 or more, I think you can expect flat rate and percentage. But if you're just looking for someone to help you out on your launch, flat rate's probably the best way to go.
Awesome. I'm really glad I asked you that. I think those tips that you just gave are really going to help our audience figure out exactly who they should work with. And we also covered when they should be looking to hire an ads manager. So it's kind of like, just to kind of summarize, I've heard this advice before and I truly believe it as well. Like if you're going to hire a copywriter, you should at least have a basic fundamental understanding of the principles behind copy, even if you're not an all-star copywriter, but you want to at least understand, what you're looking at when someone shows you, okay, these are 5 emails that I've written. This is a web page that I've written, so that you can evaluate, are they following the proven principles and strategies of direct response copy? So in the same way, you're saying you should at least have a working understanding of how Facebook works. You should know your numbers, and then that would be a good time for you to hire an ads manager.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's look for someone who can be a partner with you in your business, as opposed to look for someone who you can hand the responsibility off to.
Awesome. So before we go, why don't you just remind everyone where they can find you in case someone feels like, hey, you know what? I think I found my ads manager. I think it's Salome. So how would they apply to possibly work with you?
Thanks, Jack. If they go to shineandsucceed.com, there's an apply to work with us page, and they can just fill out an application there.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right, everyone. Go hire your ads manager if you're ready. And once you know your numbers, and make sure that you don't make the common mistakes that we covered. And best of luck to you. I know that Facebook ads can be tricky, but once you get it working for you and you get it working right, it can be a total game changer.
Yeah. Thanks, Jack.